Good afternoon. Welcome back to Venture Daily. On today's show, the Trump family is launching a gold US-built smartphone that blends MAGA branding, a $47 wireless plan, and a direct challenge to Apple and Samsung.
A former Navy airstrip in Silicon Valley could become the launchpad for America's fastest-moving robotics hub, aiming to beat China in the physical AI race. I'm Josiah Simons.
I'm Jackson Fordyce. It's Tuesday, June 17th. Let's get you smarter today. The Israel-Iran conflict has taken a dangerous turn this week, and the U.S. is inching closer to direct involvement.
Yeah, over the last few days, Israel has carried out strikes deep inside Iran, targeting nuclear facilities, missile sites, and even high-level military officials.
In response, Iran launched a massive counterattack, firing hundreds of missiles and drones into Israel. Civilian casualties are climbing. The current death toll is over 24, and tensions are rising fast.
The U.S. military has stepped in, deploying 2 carrier strike groups to the region, including the USS Nimitz and Carl Vinson. They're calling it a defensive posture, but the scale of this deployment suggests they're preparing for more.
And Trump is not exactly dialing things down. He tweeted that Iran should have taken the deal he offered, warned Tehran residents to evacuate, and said point blank, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
There's even talk of a potential U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear program, though some in Washington are pushing back hard, invoking the War Powers Resolution. Lawmakers are demanding that any strike get congressional approval.
Bottom line, we're seeing one of the most dangerous escalations in the Middle East in years. With U.S. military power now fully in motion, this could be a turning point.
All right, before we jump into today's headlines, I want to tell you about Public. If you take investing seriously, you need to know about public.com. That's where you can invest in everything: stocks, bonds, options, crypto. You can even earn some of the highest yields in the industry, like the 7% or higher yield you can lock in with a bond account. Public is a FINRA-registered SIPC insured platform that takes your investments as seriously as you do. Fund your account in 5 minutes or less at public.com/venture and get up to $10,000 when you transfer your old portfolio. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in the podcast description below.
Yep.
Check it out. Our link, public.com/venture. We fully endorse the app. It's pretty great, and it really helps support our show.
Public.com/venture.
All right, Jackson, tell us our first story today.
Big first story today. The Trump family has announced the launch of Trump Mobile, a new wireless service branded under a licensing deal with Donald Trump's name. The service, called T1 Mobile, is structured as a mobile virtual network operator, MVNO, meaning it runs on the infrastructure of all 3 major U.S. carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, but sells directly to customers under its own brand. Its flagship offering is the 47 plan, priced at $47.45 per month, which includes unlimited talk, text, and data, plus perks like device protection, 24/7 roadside assistance, telehealth services, and free international calling to over 100 countries.
That's right. In addition to the wireless plan, the company plans to launch a US-made smartphone, is what they say, in August, called the T1 phone, a gold-colored device positioned as a patriotic alternative to Apple or Samsung. This is notable because no major smartphone brands currently manufacture in the US, a topic which Trump has frequently criticized and targeted with tariffs. The Trump organization is not directly operating the service or phone, but has licensed its brand through DTTM operations. So here's the phone.
Yep.
Check it out. I thought this was funny. Jackson, you found this tweet.
Yeah.
Trump is now selling 5G phone service. The QAnon folks are going to flip out.
Well, now it's because part of the Trump phone. It won't interact with any of the brainwaves anymore.
It's
true.
It's
totally safe and offers telehealth services if, in fact, the 5G does ruin your brain.
That's right. The Trump organization said customers can use the new service using their existing phones or purchase its T1 phone beginning in August. They described it as a sleek gold smartphone. We showed you some pictures there, designed and built in the U.S. Now, that's been called into question by a lot of people.
We will see.
Is it actually built in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Is that possible? How expensive would that make the phone?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll get into it later on about whether or not this will be actually made in the United States, or some people saying it's going to be made in China, which, how funny would that be?
Yeah.
But another talking point of the phone is, this is very similar to the Obama phone.
Right.
During Obama's presidency. But I was doing some research. This is completely different than the Obama phone. The Obama phone, they nicknamed the Obama phone, and then I guess actually named the Obama phone,
right?
Obamaphone.com.
Federal program provided discounted phones and internet services to low-income individuals.
Exactly.
That was the Obama phone.
Been around since the 80s, that program.
Right.
And this is just, I guess, Trump's family wanting to build their own sort of mobile service plus a phone that you have to pay for, because the service was free for low-income individuals, but this is the $45 a month plan.
Right.
Pay for the phone as well. So very different than the Obama phone.
Yes, it seems similar, but really, in reality, it's not that similar. But I heard you talk to Josh Gerben about
for
this
a deeper dive
story.
into the story. Yeah, talk to Josh Gerben.
I'm Josh Gerbin. I'm a founder of Gerben IP, which is a trademark law firm based in Washington, D.C. So been working on trademarks for the last 18 years in the firm.
So yeah, Josh's connection to the story, DTTM Operations, the entity that manages Donald Trump's trademarks, made filings last week indicating that he intends to use the trademark Trump and T1 for a mobile phone and wireless service. So Josh...
He's our guy.
Yeah, he's our guy. He previously reported on the trademark filings right whenever they happen. And so my first question for Josh is the T1 phone truly US built? And how feasible is it to manufacture competitive smartphones domestically given current supply chain realities?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. Obviously, that's the claim that's being made by Trump with this new phone. Honestly, at this point in time, we don't have any verification of that in one way or another. The few industry experts I've talked to during the course of the day have said that it would be very difficult to build a phone like that in the United States. But could it be done? Probably. It's probably going to be more expensive and than it would be, obviously, to build it overseas.
Right. So this is not the first brand play we've seen from the Trump family.
Right.
You've got Trump is no stranger to merchandise. You got gold shoes. You got a branded Bible.
I didn't see that. Branded Bible.
A branded Bible. Yeah, check this out. You haven't seen this?
No, I don't think so.
The Holy Bible. God bless the USA.
Wow.
On top, it reads, Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America, the day God intervened, July 13th, 2024. I don't know exactly what that means, but
I don't know what day that is, that matters for
Yeah.
American history.
But-
I'll get that for you for our next Venture Daily gift to Josiah.
yeah, please. And then, of course, the American Eagle guitars he's been selling, part of his
wow.
campaign. So a lot of these
I'm
are
out of the loop of all this merch.
a little more gimmicky than
Sure.
functional, I feel. So will this phone be different?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out, but we'll ask Josh the next question is how serious is the Trump organization's long-term commitment to the telecom and hardware sectors, or is this just mainly a brand licensing play?
Well, this is the first we've heard of it. So Trump Org filed 2 trademarks last week, one for the Trump brand, one for the T1 name, indicating they were about to launch a mobile phone service and sell a Trump branded mobile phone. That's really the first time that they've made any business filings around any kind of around the telecom space for the Trump brand. So is this another venture they had last year? If you recall, around the election, they had Trump sneakers, they had Trump watches. There's a lot of licensing they can do with the Trump brand because of, look, it's divisive, but it is popular with half the country at least. So the idea that they have people out there that are willing to buy a gold phone and walk around with the phone and quote unquote support MAGA, that does seem to be the play here. Whether or not this is going to be a long-term business venture or something that's shorter, that we don't know.
My dad will be the first one to buy the Trump phone, the T1.
I mean, Apple's sold gold phones before.
Sure. Why can't they?
Gold isn't.
Why can't Trump do that?
Why can't Trump?
Is he not allowed? Let him do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
And because Josh is a trademark attorney, I wanted to ask him this trademark question. Is there a regulatory or legal risk if Trump Mobile leverages political influence or public office connections for commercial gain?
Well, that's been the question since day one of the first Trump administration is, all the business ventures that Trump has. It's unusual for a president to have as many business interests as Trump has had. As a trademark attorney, I've always referred to him as our brand president because, long before he was in the Oval Office, I'm from the Philadelphia area, and he had plenty of casinos in Atlantic City, and the gold and the gaudiness of those casinos was well known in the area for years, and the Trump brand was well known in the area. So the Trump brand's been around for a very long time. No question, it seems like since the first round of the administration, now certainly the second round, there's a lot more licensing of the Trump brand and a lot more products that Trump Org is pushing out under the Trump brand, likely because there's a bigger market for them than there's been before.
He mentioned he's from Philly.
Right.
And, I just thought I'd bring this up because we thought this was cool.
Okay.
So his last name, Gerben.
Oh,
if anyone
yes.
is familiar with the new show called Tires, Shane
Right.
Gillis, comedian, one of the main characters is Steve Gerben.
Yes.
And they are brothers. They're
They're
actually brothers.
Yes.
Josh and Steve. So if you're someone watching that,
Shout out Tires.
shout out Tires, shout out, that whole crew of people. Shane Gillis lives in Austin now.
Yeah, lives
Just
in
like
Austin,
us.
just like
a
us.
lot of connections. A
A lot of connections.
overlap here.
My main question I guess I'll get to Josh in a second, but for you, you buying a Trump phone?
Currently, I'm on a AT&T plan.
Sure.
That is fine.
Sure.
I don't love it. So
Are you on a family plan?
I'll consider
Your
it.
parents' plan?
I am.
Me too.
So
Maybe it's time to grow up.
It's time to grow up.
Get Trump
It's time
phones.
to get a Trump phone.
My final question for Josh was, will you be buying a Trump phone?
No, I will not personally be buying the Trump phone. I try not to get too political in the middle of the trademark story, but I will say that no, it is not my particular cup of tea. I do have an Apple iPhone. I don't really plan to give that up for a Trump T1 gold phone anytime soon.
Suit yourself, man. Time for boys to be men. Get a Trump phone. But thank you to Josh Gerben for being on the show today.
All right, Jackson, what's next?
Yep, next story. Frontier Valley is a proposed special regulatory zone in Alameda Point, California, designed to supercharge physical AI and robotics innovation.
Larger than San Francisco's SOMA, the zone would offer dramatically accelerated permitting and testing processes for cutting-edge technologies from drones and small modular reactors to novel materials and chip manufacturing.
Advocates urge that the U.S. risks falling behind China, which can test and deploy physical tech in days due to its special economic zones and streamlined regulation. Frontier Valley aims to flip the script by creating a domestic hub where U.S. companies can move just as fast. The goal is not only to win the global race for physical AI, but also to prototype a new model for robotics-first cities that can be replicated across the country.
The Trump administration has already enabled regulatory acceleration via executive orders, and backers are now pushing for an exemption under national security law to clear a nature reserve designation that is currently blocking the site.
If approved, the zone could become a nationwide template for high-speed industrial progress. Supporters say that this is a generational moonshot, but will shape America's global standing in the future of post-automation life. And
here, Aidan Gold is commenting on it. He said, "We are explorers, but we need a new frontier." At Frontier Valley paints a vision for what we can build, a frontier of techno-optimism. So, Jackson,
yes,
you thought, why not call the guy?
Why not call Aidan Gold to come back on the show? So for more on the story, I spoke with him.
Yeah, my name is Aidan Gold. I'm an investor at Ensemble VC, focused on early stage deep tech investing. And Jackson, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be back on.
Yeah, for my first question to Aidan, it was, what does it actually mean to be a robotics first city, and how would that change daily life compared to today's urban environments?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really about creating the regulatory framework to enable this to become a robotic city. And you kind of need what they call like a SEZ, a special economic zone. And so China has a lot of these, but they're basically independent jurisdictions where you can let innovation flourish. And it's not bogged down by lots of regulations and regulators and slow things that or make it harder to build in places like San Francisco or New York City or Austin. It's specifically designed for innovation.
So this is going to be at Alameda Point, which
Right.
is across the bay from San Francisco's downtown.
Exactly.
Right?
It's actually really, really short. I've taken the ferry several times from Alameda to San Francisco and back and forth. It's really quick, and so I think what Aidan will get to later on, but it's a hub for talent in the
Right.
area, and the area that they're proposing is primarily just pavement. It's a
Yeah.
lot of just concrete.
Yeah, I mean, we showed
everywhere.
the picture on there.
Yeah.
It's this old Navy airstrip. It's just concrete. It's a nature reserve, and yet
Because I think there's
it's
some
concrete.
I'm not sure, some like grassy areas or maybe somewhere
Sure.
wildlife or others
Right.
live. And yeah, building Frontier Valley in Alameda Point is strategic. And so I asked Aidan, why is Alameda Point the right location for this? And what makes it strategically valuable beyond being a large vacant parcel in Silicon Valley?
It has lots of talent nearby. It's open space, like you mentioned. And I think it's maybe near the land's already owned by the military or the government has like rights to it. So it's like natural for something like this. So you couldn't really draw it up better to have such like a large plot of land that could be used for something like this to create innovation that's so close to the innovation center, but just across the way. And it's kind of like a frontier. Like if SF is on one side, Alameda is on the other, and it shows it's like this is the frontier to a more advanced kind of regulatory framework for innovation to thrive. So I really hope something like this happens.
Nice. So we talked about the mission, the stated mission here from the Frontier Valley on their X post was, quote, to defeat China in the physical AI and robotics race and to prove out a self-sufficient blueprint for robotics-driven cities that will improve all Americans' quality of life and sovereignty.
Exactly. And so I asked Aidan, what specific types of physical AI breakthroughs are expected within the next 5 years, and why is the United States currently at such a disadvantage compared to China?
It's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, so I don't want to overstep on what I think the world could look like. But the most important thing with innovation, I think we talked about this last time, is rapid deployment, shipping, and then iterating on that. And China's really good at the rapid iteration cycle. And so we need a playground to be able to do that with robotics, to test things, pick things up, try different kind of systems. And right now, there's not really a good place to do that. So hopefully, this can become a hub for all sorts of robotics companies to experiment, try picking things up, use their toys, and have the infrastructure in place to almost be like a rapid prototyping facility, which China's really good at. And I think if we're able to do that, we're going to see real world robotics get to the world a lot faster.
And my last question for Aidan, what kinds of companies or startups are being targeted or recruited to launch inside the zone, and are any already committed?
I don't know if any are committed yet, but it's anyone that's doing something very innovative in like hardware. So that's like robotics, it's semiconductors, it's manufacturing, maybe material sciences. So anyone that's doing something physical that needs the space, they need kind of a fast regulatory environment so they can get to work, is going to be like perfect, the Frontier Society. To be frank, like I've known James, the founder of the Frontier Society, for about a year and a half, 2 years now. We were talking about this a while ago, how it needed to happen. And we were like, does it need to go to Texas? Do we need to go to Singapore? Like, how can we speed up innovation? And at the end of the day, we just landed on that Silicon Valley is the epicenter of some of the smartest people in the world, with the most robust capital markets, talent for hiring. And to be able to set up a place in Alameda where you can bring all that together is super, super special. And so the Trump administration would be very wise to turn this into a special economic zone to make this a reality.
Selfishly, I wish it was going to be in Texas, but I get it.
Yep.
Thank you to Aidan Gold for being on the show today.
All right, for our last story, we do a little funding highlight, and I want to talk to you, Jackson, about wildfires, which are getting worse and faster. Some now blow up in minutes before anyone can even call 911.
Exactly. That's why Pano exists. They're a San Francisco-based startup using AI and high-powered cameras to catch fires the moment they start, and they just raised $44 million in Series B funding.
Whew, literally 24/7 surveillance. Their system scans forests, hillsides, and dry brush nonstop. And when it sees something off, it sends exact coordinates straight to first responders.
And it's not just hype. In Colorado, one of their cameras caught a lightning sparked blaze before anyone reported it. Firefighters had the fire out at just 3 acres. That's unheard of before now.
The funding, led by Giant Ventures, will help them scale in wildfire-prone areas across the US, Australia, and Canada.
More cameras, faster alerts, smarter response, because with wildfires, minutes aren't just time. They're lives, homes, billions.
That's right. All right, Jackson, that's it for Venture Daily. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope we helped you get a little bit smarter today.
Yes, and thank you to Content Stack for letting us film here using their space in Austin, Texas. And if you like today's show, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or X, leave us a like, a comment, and a review. Throw us a 5-star rating if you think we earned it. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow morning at Venture Daily.